Hey, everybody, and welcome back to the No Vacancy Podcast with me, your host, Glenn Hausman. Today, I'm excited because I'm with Mr. Geoff Andrew of World Hotels. And if you guys don't know who World Hotels is, you are certainly going to find out now. Geoff, how are you, sir?
I am very well, Glenn. It's very nice to be here. Thank you for inviting me.
It is very nice to meet you. So the news of the day is about 6 months ago, you guys teamed up with Best Western Hotels and Resorts and really are creating a very powerful, exciting, unified type of organization. Yep. But I don't want to get too far ahead of ourselves. Okay. I want to make sure that folks here, that I get 85% of the audience from the United States of America, and we have a tendency to think we are the world.
Yeah,
but there's a whole lot of world around there, and they may not be as familiar with World Hotels as they should be.
That's right. It's a big world out there.
Right.
And we are World Hotels,
right.
So we're here to talk about it. Yeah, that's right. Thank you. World Hotels has been around for 50 years.
Right.
So next year we actually do celebrate our 50-year anniversary. So we've got a lot of heritage behind us. Mm-hmm. Right now, World Hotels is a collection of, let me use the old language, let's say 4 and 5 star, 4.5
right.
and 5 star hotels. Mm-hmm. So very much driving for the upscale
right.
and luxury hotels.
And how would you say that in new language?
Oh, the new language is the upper upscale and luxury. Right. We follow the STR, right?
Yes, of course.
Everybody follows that track.
Yeah, everybody but the consumer.
No, yeah, exactly. Which is why I go back to star ratings.
Right, exactly.
People tend to understand that. Yeah, absolutely.
Right. So, but it's kind of a cool portfolio of properties, right?
Exactly. Mm-hmm. So we are classically, if you like, an affiliation brand.
Right.
Which means that our hotels are not owned or managed by us, but they are members. They come in for reservations, sales, marketing support, mm-hmm. and all those good things.
Right.
And they are very beautiful, unique properties. That's the whole point, and
right.
that's the great thing about the independent industry. So what's happened here is that Best Western, which is now styled as BWH Hotel Group,
right?
Because Best Western is the brand, but the group now has multiple tiers. So we have come in to essentially be the upper upscale and luxury side of the BWH Hotel Group.
Right. So that is absolutely beautiful. I want to get into a little before questions, right, then we'll get into the deal, and then we'll get into the after. Right. So what appealed to you? What appealed to them? How did this thing start to come together?
All right, well, what appealed to us, basically, if you look at the industry right now, there is a huge demand for independent properties.
Right.
There's no question about that. The internet has driven tremendous growth and interest in unique independent products. The challenge that all of us have in the independent sector is how do you get the kind of scale you need to
right.
really be heard on an international stage?
Mm-hmm.
We're a global company, but at the end of the day, being a collection of 300, or even, let's face it, 500, mm-hmm. if you're on your own,
right.
it's not an easy place to work. There's some pretty big players out there.
Yeah.
So how do you combine, therefore, the autonomy that our hotels like and love and want to run their own hotels,
yep.
and our ability to sell them properly in the market, but have the kind of resources to really make that happen? So from our perspective, that's where this deal came from.
Right.
So this is a long-standing affiliation brand sort of being dropped into
yep.
a major top 10 hotel chain. What did BW see in this? Well, of course, for them, this was a way of quickly establishing
right.
a major presence in
mm-hmm.
the luxury and upper upscale market.
Yep.
If you go out there and try and launch your own soft brand, which many hotel groups have done, let's face it,
yeah,
there's
right?
plenty out there.
Oh, there's another one.
Yeah, there you go.
There's another one.
Yeah, just right here this week.
Yeah.
It takes time. So here's a perfect out-of-the-box solution
right.
that immediately positions BWH in multiple tiers and gives them a footprint and a presence that, obviously gives them a head start.
Yeah, now I started to smell synergy the second you said membership, right? So it's not just categories that seem to align and help build, a stronger portfolio for both of you, but it seems to have the same sort of ethos behind it as well.
Yeah, spot on. Thank you for answering that question for me.
That's
terrific.
Sometimes I get a little carried away, Geoff.
Yeah, no, that's fine. Let me ask the questions.
Yeah.
No, I mean, you're absolutely right. There is definitely a philosophical view that is the same in terms of the importance of the members, the voice of the members. We've always valued and cherished the members that we have, the owners that we have. They all have differing views. It's fantastic. And we've just come into an organization that is exactly the same way. So, yeah, it's terrific. Philosophically, we're all aligned. It's great.
I give credit to David Kong and Ron Pohl and his team for finding a really creative way to make them a much stronger force to be reckoned with now in all aspects of the market.
Absolutely. I mean, if with the introduction of several brands now within the BWH portfolio, from Shore Stay down in the economy segment, segment with us now up at the upper upscale and luxury, it basically opens up the whole marketplace for the group, which I think is terrific for everybody. So it's a win-win.
Yeah, how does, for example, like the BW Premier and what you're doing kind of complement each other, overlap, if at all?
there's a little, at this stage, there's obviously a little bit of overlap at the BW Premier collection level and what we call our distinctive collection.
Right.
But our target over the next, over the next several years, but starting right now, is to really start to drive harder for us on our elite and luxury collections.
Right.
So the goal ultimately is that there will be clear water between the different brands.
Yeah, and I'm one of those people that, I know you say clear water. I think that when you say clear water between brands, I think that's more for the developer's point of view, not necessarily from the customer point of view, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think that's probably true. It puts the house in order.
Right.
It just makes it an easier strategic explanation. But yeah, as far as the customers can, I mean, one of the things I often say is that with our collection, I have said many times, we are a collection of 300 brands.
Right.
Because every single hotel sees the value in its own name, in its own place, in its own market, and we very much treat. We've historically treated our hotels that way. We want to say, if you're the Royal Garden in London,
right,
that is your brand, and we will help. We can support with the World Hotels name, but actually we want to carry you as well.
Yeah, it's fascinating that you've been doing this for 50 years, because when the Americans started introducing that concept with a competing brand to Best Western about 10 years ago, I think they really made it seem like it was a brand new idea that was out there, and everyone else has seemed to kind of jump on that bandwagon too.
Well, I think the space that we occupy, and there are obviously other organizations that do independent collections, I think, they're there, and there's certainly a couple of them that are US based and have been around for many years. I don't need to name names, who they are.
Yeah, exactly.
But I think
I like to keep it all positive and not mention other brands when I'm talking with
I'm not
one,
going down
right?
that road. Yeah. You can edit as much as you want later.
Oh, don't worry, I'm gonna edit and like totally change everything you're saying to make it look horrible.
That's fine. Can you change my name as well, and my boss doesn't find out? No, I mean, I think it is really intriguing at the moment the way the industry's going, and I think we've got a real opportunity now for our hotels to benefit from the kind of resources and pockets, program sales, rewards program. All of this stuff is now being badged as World Hotels for our benefit. Right. So my sort of message, if you like, to the market is, we get the best of both worlds. Yeah. Be independent, but at the same time be able to draw on the strength of a huge brand.
Right, and totally. And that's the same type of line that I hear all the time. Whenever I'm at industry conferences and events, when it comes to soft branding, it's really a team up of the best of both worlds.
It is. I'll be honest with you, I'm a little dubious about some of these so-called soft brands,
of course you are.
And quite how autonomous they really are.
Right.
I'd like to think we're the authentic thing. We've inherited and brought in that culture from, as I say, 50 years of history.
Yeah,
so
that's amazing.
It's not that easy. I would suggest to you it's not that easy to create a truly autonomous environment if you are creating just another brand that fits in with your big machine.
I get it. So how did all this come together? Do they call you? Do you call them? Do you have a meaningful bump in on the street and fall in love?
My people called their people, and we kind of got it on. No, I mean, it was it kind of was like that, really. Yeah, it was just mutual phone calls going. Right. We feel now we're in a position where we need the scale. Right. David Kong is someone who we'd been talking to a little bit on and off in previous years, and he, smart guy, knew what he wanted in terms of top end of the market.
He's really a terrific CEO.
So I think as you've said, the synergies were obvious.
Yeah, but for sure. How long did it take for it, once you started having meaningful conversations, how long does something like this take to get together?
Actually, surprisingly quickly.
Yeah.
I mean, I've been through a few of these now, and this was the fastest.
Really?
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
I mean, I'm talking a few months.
Wow, that's pretty. It's really
it wasn't extended
fast.
At all.
Right. I mean, I can't get anybody to do things in a few months.
Well,
let
that's
alone,
right.
a deal like that.
David was keen to get it done, and so were we. So there was goodwill on both sides to just get the transaction.
I love that. But what is it like, the process now of integrating everything? What are some of the opportunities, some of the challenges?
Fun. Yeah. I mean, there's always bumps in the road.
Of course.
But I'm very much a glasses half full kind of guy.
Right.
So at the moment, I'm a kid in a candy store, just opening up all these boxes, going, "Oh, I like that. Oh, I'll have one of those. Oh, 2 of those, please."
Yeah.
So the opportunities are definitely outweighing the challenges, if you like, of any integration. And there are challenges, of course there are.
Of course.
But
especially when it comes to some of that technology stuff, and you're talking about loyalty programs and
exactly technology, marketing. I mean, it runs the whole gamut. Every discipline, every area of the business needs to be looked at, tested, and fully integrated. But we're moving on really fast. I mean, we've now got integrated sales. We've now already rebadged the rewards program. That's going out.
Wow, that's pretty quick.
Yeah. So there's a lot of things already moving.
No, that's pretty impressive. So. How do you keep your role going as CEO of that division and all of that?
I mean, it's still my responsibility to make sure World Hotels as a brand is developed.
It's kind of like, I'm sorry to interrupt you, but it's just coming to me because like Best Western has CEOs in like different regions, so it's almost kind of a different thing, except your region is the world with this particular portfolio.
Yeah, I guess so.
Right.
I guess so. I mean, it's a kind of, I suppose if you put it in more formal terms, corporate terms, it's almost a brand president.
Yes, I understand.
Type of role. Mm-hmm. But ultimately, it's my responsibility to make sure that the brand is positioned correctly in the market and on the development side to make sure it's growing in the target markets that we want.
So where are you folks typically located?
Half the portfolio is in Europe,
right,
and about 2/3 of the rest is in Asia, and then the Americas makes up the rest. So actually, one of the big benefits for us in this whole transaction is the opportunity now in North America.
That's exactly.
We've never had a huge footprint here. We've always had, fairly strong in New York, other gateway cities, but I just see the whole market opening up now with the networking, the strength, the development team that are here in North America.
Right. So I'm a New York guy, right? You know. So what name a hotel in New York that's part of your collection?
The Kimberly is a beautiful hotel.
Yes,
that's a long-standing member of ours. Sanctuary Hotel, beautiful, cool.
Right
on cool. So those are the kind of hotels that we are looking for. Anything that's got, I mean, if they're names, if they've something special about them, I think it's really important in this market that you've got to have something iconic, historic, special, something that says, I'm somewhere I want to talk about. I'm somewhere I want to go and put on social media. Those are the kind of hotels you want of this.
Exactly. And I love those kinds of hotels. And the two that you mentioned that I know are really fantastic products that are out there. How do you get the membership to go along with something like this? Because they really dictate the decision-making process. So how does that whole process?
Well, you persuade. I mean, we're not in a world of membership. You're not out there to. Nobody's dictating, right?
Yeah, right. Yeah.
You can order them, but it ain't going to follow.
And I've always seen sometimes it's difficult to get some of the things that is done right because you're dealing with all those different voices.
That's right. That's right. So you got to play it carefully, but at the same time, it's persuasion. It's encouraging. But we've just spent 10 minutes talking about the opportunities that come with this transaction. So we have smart people that run our hotels, and they can see what the benefits are going to be long term. So it's not a huge challenge from that perspective.
So what are you most excited about this whole thing?
I just think the opportunities for growth, Glenn.
Right.
I mean, let's face it. I think we can quickly get from 300 hotels to somewhere around 600 over the next 5 years. Mm-hmm. I don't think, and maybe even less time than that.
So you're going to be able to plug into their development group as well, right?
Yes. Oh, absolutely. Yeah. That's what I'm keen to see.
Right. Yeah. So you get a guy who in the classic Best Western, we'll call it for the sake of this conversation, that maybe has California as a territory. They may spot some opportunities that fit well within your portfolio, and then can help bring that together.
There are plenty of owners within the Best Western family that have properties that they don't necessarily want to put a BW sign on.
That makes a lot of sense.
So, they have other hotels. Up until now, BW has not had the opportunity to offer them anything at the higher end of the market.
Right.
Now they can.
Yeah.
We have a guy in North America, Greg Habib, who's an extremely good high-end developer, so he's focused full-time on World Hotels, but at the same time, under Brad LeBlanc and his team here in North America for BW, he's going to unearth stuff, and together we're going to, I think we're going to find a lot of opportunities.
Right. Yeah. I just think it's great for the guys on the development side of the business because they have, more ammunition in order to go out to the market and convince people to join the family. Plus, I think it's great for a lot of these hotels that haven't joined a system yet that feel like this is going to be the right opportunity?
I think so. I mean, look, we all know we're 10 years into a 7-year cycle.
Right, yes.
And so we're all feeling a little bit uncomfortable about
Right.
this. So it's not about who's successful now.
Yes.
It's about have you put the right things in place for when the storms come? Because we know they're going to come. We just don't know when.
Right.
So when things are good, when there's a rising tide, all boats float, right? But when the tide starts to come back in, what are you going to do?
Right.
You've got to make sure you've got the structures in place, the support in place. I think a lot of independent hotels that have enjoyed a fantastic time for the last many years are going to find as things start to flatten out, they're going to need that support. So I think there is a big opportunity from hotels that right now are maybe just doing a basically plug-and-play connectivity solution. They're going to need the kind of sales and marketing that we can provide. And
I suppose you guys, once you plug in, once all these hotels start to get more accustomed to the new relationship, they'll be able to tap into probably training tools and other types of solutions that are already there, right?
Absolutely, already. I mean, those things are already available.
Yeah. How'd you get involved in the hotel business?
Oh, that's a great question. I kind of fell into it.
Yeah, don't we all?
Yeah, I know. How does that happen? Yeah. I did a business degree, and for my internship, I just happened to end up at a little company called UTEL International, which doesn't exist anymore. Got consumed into the Pegasus group.
Geez, that was a long time ago already.
That was, yeah. I'm older than I look. I hate to tell you that, but no. And once you taste this industry, you just stay with it, right? I mean, it's just a great place to be.
Yeah,
but it was. I mean, like many, I'm an accidental, but
So then how did you get on the hotelier side? What was that journey like, making it up to CEO of World Hotels?
Well, I don't know. Maybe that was accidental as well.
Yeah.
No, I've spent most of my career working with independent hotels.
Right.
I mean, UTEL was exactly that.
Right.
So coming to World Hotels 6 years ago was almost a homecoming in terms of what the kind of challenges that we were facing, the kind of hotels we were dealing with, the different characters around the world, the global nature of the business. So it's very familiar to me.
Right.
So I think I've always been very passionate about independence. I think it has to be promoted. I think we have to make sure that these products that are very individual are protected, nurtured, and thrive, and don't get crushed by ultimately by the big groups. It's worth saving. So it's a flag we can rally around. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, for sure. What are customers looking for today when they seek out an independent hotel experience?
I think it is something. But I've always said once you start getting to the higher end of the market, there is something there that is special. You're looking for something, I think I said earlier, but it's iconic, it's historic, it's some superb service, it's an amazing location, an amazing view. It is something that makes you go beyond, my expectations were met.
Right.
What?
Yeah.
You want something you can talk about. So you're talking about the curious traveler. You're talking, yes, experiential. We can use all those words. But I think
I feel like there should be a drinking game out there anytime someone says experience, right? But we'd all be down on the ground.
I said experiential. I avoided that one. It's a variance on the same thing.
I like you quibbling over a couple of letters.
Look, I mean, the important thing is, do you have a product there that gets people excited?
Right. Yeah.
And that's what you want. There's the passion involved, and I love the fact on the hotel side that you've got people who are so proud of these products that they've created. A lot of them are personal visions, and they want to see them succeed.
Now, I'm a big believer that, at least here in the United States, and my hunch is other places around the world too, since the Great Recession in the last 10 years, I think customers have really changed. They've gone from that, eschewing materialism for more of the experiential type of travel type of thing.
You said it again.
I know. I'm going to save all my shots for the party that we're going to later tonight. But what I'm finding is that it's probably had to inform the programming of each of these hotels probably a little bit differently than, let's say, even 6 years ago when you first started with them.
Yeah, I think, we've got a shifting... I mean, certainly when you start talking about luxury, there is definitely a sense of a shifting definition of what that really means.
Right.
People, what do people really, really value these days?
I always hear time. Time.
Well, there's certainly time is definitely an element.
Yeah.
And the personalization thing is certainly something. But privacy. I mean, people are looking for a refuge. People are looking for an oasis, something where they can be... feel recognized and special, but kind of step away from the crowd a little bit. That's definitely something that's required. There's a lot more. You've probably seen the trends in intergenerational, multi-generational travel. So being able to cope with, and we're talking leisure here, obviously.
Yeah, of course.
But even in the business setting, I think there is there's a little bit of a relaxation. We're coming. I think we stepped
Right.
a long way from the old white glove, silver service type.
I was doing
definition.
we're here at the Logic conference recording this, and I hosted a general session panel. And as soon as I could, I got rid of the suit and put on something a little bit more comfortable.
There you go.
You know, right?
And it doesn't. You don't have to be defined by that anymore.
Right.
So all of those things have contributed to a little bit of a different view. I'm not completely sold. I have to say, you hear arguments raging back and forth on the whole. The demographic thing, the whole millennial,
Right.
Gen X, Gen Y.
Yeah.
I just think young people get older.
I think
and
young
get
people
more money.
And I also think when one of those things, when you're talking about that and you're trying to shoehorn people into a particular category, that's why I always like to talk about psychographics. But the fact of the matter is, when you're younger, I keep hearing they're not brand loyal. They're not brand loyal. I'm like, heck, nobody's brand loyal when they're really young. It's a time to experiment and figure things
Absolutely
out.
right.
And when you get
Absolutely
older
right.
and you have more of that cash flow and
Yes,
you're
yeah.
able to take the experiences, I
Yeah.
think the choices that you make are more refined because you have that experience of a lot of opportunities
Exactly.
to try things in the past, right?
Yeah, I don't disparage the idea of getting people in early
Right.
and
Yeah, for
enjoying that experience, but I'm not that the blanket idea that this generation is now radically
Right.
different from the last one. There is one respect in which I'd like to throw into the conversation
Yeah, please.
where I think is going to be something that will come very quickly, and by that I mean certainly over the next 5-10 years. But the whole area around sustainability, I do think
Right.
we've got to take more seriously as an industry.
Well, we're trying to. It would be great if we would take it more seriously as a planet.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
But,
well, let's focus on the industry.
Yeah, let's narrow it down a little
Yeah.
bit. I mean, the younger generations are going to demand
Right.
those
And
products
and not to go back to the whole universe again, but we saw that recently when a lot of the young people around the world were saying,
Yeah.
"Hey, we need to do something about
Yeah,
that."
they're doing it, and they're starting to move. I hope that that's not just a flash in the pan. I don't believe it is. I think there is a genuine concern now. So,
Well, there's also, I know what you're going to say, but I want to add to it before you put that out there. They also want to deal with companies that they feel are ethical.
correct.
Right.
And that's why I'm saying we need to get ahead of the game, because
Right.
ultimately either the market through demand or governments through legislation are going to force us into a position where we have to make decisions. And
Right.
nobody wants to be forced into that.
Yeah.
I think it is a little bit unfortunate that travel and tourism is a kind of the poster child for all the ills of the world
Well,
in terms of carbon footprints.
for sure.
And, I'm the guy that flew 5,000 miles to get here, so
Yeah,
I'm
right.
Mr. Hypocrite
Yeah.
saying it. But I do think it goes beyond climate change. It's all about general sustainability. What are we doing to the environment? It's about pollution. It's about single-use stuff. It's about, I think it's starting to get into building with recycled materials. I think it's much more about renewable energies, all those sorts of things, more efficient building management. I think that we need to be collectively just getting more ahead of the game on that before somebody
Right.
forces us. And we should be. It's in our interest to see the planet sustained. Otherwise, our business is gone anyway, right?
Yeah, that's a really good point. So, what are your expectations for the future? Your hopes, your dreams here with how this relationship's going to go?
I think I'm quietly positive on this one.
Yeah.
I do think we've got a very unique opportunity to do something a little bit different. I think it's an opportunity for independents to get the best of both worlds.
Right.
As I said earlier.
Yep.
And I see many in this market especially. I can see me spending a lot of time over here in the next few years. But I do think that the US is a market that we can do much more business in. And be successful. So I'm pretty positive.
That's awesome. Anything else that you feel you need to get out right here on the microphone?
Oh no! Did you got any beers?
Well, I just chugged a few of them here because I kept saying that word. So I had them. Now I don't anymore.
No, I'm almost ready for that. It feels like I'm jet lagged, Glenn. I'll be honest with you. So I've been up since about 4:30. So it's been a long day already.
I had the same problem. I woke up at 4:30 this morning and just lay in bed yelling, F, why am I awake?
Yeah, and you don't even have the excuse of jet lag, do you, right?
Yeah, the 3-hour time difference is really,
really
right? difficult,
Good luck adjusting.
Yeah, thanks. I really appreciate that. All right, Geoff, how about a good shameless plug to promote you, promote Best Western, promote anything you want, maybe even your favorite place to buy licorice. I don't know.
Oh, no, well, I don't know. I think I've done all the plugs I need to do. I just want to thank my producer, my family, and everybody else for this opportunity. So,
excellent. And you're supposed to thank the Lord and all of that kind of stuff, too. Yeah, right.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, excellent. Geoff, this has been so much fun.
Thank you.
And I thank you so much for being here. I want to thank everybody for listening and watching on this edition of the podcast. If you haven't subscribed yet, please subscribe to our newsletter. Text the word hotel to 66866. Easy enough. Just the word hotel to 66866. And of course, download the podcast on Apple Podcasts, Google Play, all the places where the finer podcasts are. And thank you for watching. And I'll be back next week. That is, unless I decide to go over somewhere to Europe and go invest in a world hotel.
Drop me a line.
I will. All right.
I'll help you out.
See you guys next time.